welcome to the deep dive. Okay, so today we're stepping away from just the cute pet photos and the sort of romantic dream of having an animal companion.
Yeah, getting real about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Our mission today is super practical. It's about finding a companion where their actual needs, their temperament, the budget involved, the space you have, and, maybe most importantly, your real daily routine match up perfectly with your life. We're talking accountability here.
It really is the highest form of love when you think about it. This deep dive is all about making what we're calling a compassionate choice. That means a decision based on, well, solid planning, actual facts, not just seeing a cute face and jumping in.
Right.
Because the details, things like species differences, the true costs, the responsibilities, they can honestly surprise even people who've owned pets before.
And, looking through our sources, we noticed the language that's most helpful for making these big decisions is really the language of planning and comparing things. So we're pulling out those subtle but powerful tools, words like should, must, maybe might, and phrases that compare needs directly, like, say, quieter than this animal or more demanding than that one.
Yeah, it's like a little linguistic toolkit for making smarter choices.
It really is a
Okay.
shortcut to getting it right.
Exactly. Because pets fundamentally change things, your routines, your budget, even just your emotional energy levels. So maybe the first big question, the one you really need to answer honestly, is this. If your time was really, truly limited, would you go for a pet that's more independent? Or one that needs constant, scheduled attention?
That honest answer is basically your starting point, your blueprint.
It's your blueprint, yeah.
Okay, so let's unpack that blueprint. First up, temperament and how it fits with your lifestyle. We really have to ditch this idea that one type of pet is just inherently better. It's always about what's suitable for you.
Suitability is everything. Temperament. Well, it's the animal's kind of deep-seated behavioral style, how they react to things, their natural energy level, how tolerant they are, how they adapt. It's this complex mix of their genetics and their early life experiences.
So if you're, say, a busy professional, maybe living in a city, small apartment, you probably need a temperament that's generally calmer, more resilient.
Right. An animal that can handle a bit of quiet time alone, manages stress reasonably well, and doesn't need, huge bursts of high-energy activity all the time.
And the flip side.
While conversely, a really energetic temperament is a better fit for a very active family. People who genuinely love going for long walks or runs every day, who enjoy training, maybe even get into things like agility or other dog sports.
That's where that comparative language is crucial, even just in your head.
Exactly. You have to ask yourself right now, is this animal's need for mental stimulation and exercise more demanding or less demanding than the time I actually have available? Be honest about it.
Let's try putting that into, that planning language.
Yeah.
We need to model it. For example, if I lived in a really small apartment, I'd probably choose a quieter cat, maybe, or a smaller dog breed known for lower exercise needs.
Yes. That if I had, or if I lived, structure is so powerful, it forces you to match your real resources to the animal's needs before you commit. That's the mental habit you want.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of talking about things, let's quickly touch on a few idioms our sources mentioned for tackling the trickier parts of pet ownership. We hear about letting the cat out of the bag, revealing something.
Yeah, often harmless enough, but the one you really, really need to watch out for is ignoring the elephant in the room.
Ah, yes.
With pets, that elephant is often things like, well, limited money, or maybe someone in the house has allergies they haven't mentioned, or the simple fact that you realistically only have 10 minutes a day for focused interaction. If you don't face that elephant, that big avoided issue head on, the whole situation can fall apart.
Absolutely. You have to deal with the uncomfortable truth before the animal comes home. And then there's top dog, which, yeah, it means the winner, but sometimes
the pet literally becomes the top dog, running the whole household schedule.
All right. If you find yourself rescheduling work meetings because Fido absolutely must have his 7 p.m. fetch session, well, you know who's really in charge then?
It happens. It's a funny but often true picture.
Okay, so now let's dive into comparing different species. Because honestly, going from thinking about a dog to thinking about, say, fish, it's like different planets in terms of needs.
Totally different worlds. Starting with dogs, generally they're highly interactive, very social, and usually the most time-intensive overall, but and this is a huge but, the difference between breeds is massive.
Okay.
A working breed, like a border collie, it might be infinitely more energetic, need way more mental work than a relaxed companion breed like maybe a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. You just can't generalize dog.
So when you're looking at a specific dog, what are the absolute must-ask questions? Beyond just, is it friendly? What about the health background?
Oh, crucial. You must ask the breeder or the shelter for proof of genetic testing. Look for health clearances for common issues, and that breed things like hip dysplasia, heart conditions, and ask about the known temperament of the parents or the dog's history. It's basically non-negotiable health due diligence.
Good point. Okay, switching gears to cats. They often get described as, more independent, maybe less demanding, easier indoors. But does independent sometimes get misinterpreted as needs zero interaction?
Yeah.
Is that a potential pitfall?
That's the critical balance, isn't it? Cats are often more independent than dogs, yes, but they are definitely not hands-off pets. They still need routine. They still need dedicated playtime often, like a couple of short, intense sessions each day work well. And essential care means things like keeping that litter box meticulously clean. The rule of thumb is often 1 box per cat plus 1 extra. They need vertical space, like climbing shelves or cat trees, and good, sturdy scratching posts with different materials. If you don't meet those environmental needs, well, your sofa might become the scratching post.
Right, got to provide alternatives.
Yeah.
Okay, moving beyond cats and dogs, what about smaller mammals? Rabbits, guinea pigs.
They're often much quieter than a dog, which appeals to people, but they can also be more fragile. They need specific vet care, not all vets specialize in them, and really safe, secure enclosures to prevent accidents or escape.
And even within that group, there are differences.
Oh, absolutely. Guinea pigs, for instance, are generally considered friendlier and more interactive than hamsters. They often do better in pairs or small groups, which is lovely, but they also need much more cage space and a constant supply of fresh hay and veggies. So, different needs again.
And then reptiles, which feels like a whole different category.
They really are a different animal entirely, as the saying goes. They're usually less noisy than cats, that's true, but their care requirements are far more technical. You're managing things like specific heat gradients across their enclosure, precise humidity levels, specialized diets. It might be quiet, but it demands technical know-how more than just active playtime.
Fish kind of fall into that technical camp too, right?
They do, visually very calming, lovely to watch, but the responsibility lies in diligent tank maintenance. You have to constantly monitor water chemistry, ammonia, nitrate levels, ensure proper filtration. If you neglect that technical side, their health can decline very, very quickly.
Okay, so let's say you've narrowed down the species. What's the immediate checklist? What are the absolute first priorities once the animal is with you?
Right, the first steps. You must schedule a full wellness exam with a vet, get the necessary vaccinations sorted out, absolutely get them microchipped for safety, that's critical, and have a conversation with the vet about the best timing for spaying or neutering.
And that vet relationship is key from day one.
Absolutely, and honestly, we can't stress this enough. Preventive care is always cheaper than emergency care. Budgeting for that yearly checkup, maybe routine dental cleaning down the line, that's part of responsible ownership. It's showing you care.
Makes sense. And just quickly on getting the pet adoption versus buying from a breeder, both need serious research, right?
Oh, definitely. Neither is automatically easy. Adoption is often less expensive upfront and hugely rewarding ethically. You're giving an animal a second chance, which is wonderful. But you might need to do a bit more digging into their background, understand any potential triggers or anxieties from their past.
And breeding.
Responsible breeding emphasis on responsible is usually more expensive initially, but the focus is on health screening, predictable temperament based on lineage, and ideally complete transparency from the breeder. The key is being honest with yourself about what level of known history you feel equipped to handle.
That honesty about your own capacity, that leads us perfectly into the next section. Daily routines. Because this is where the pet's happiness, and yours, really gets made or broken.
It's the unglamorous foundation, isn't it? But it's everything. The absolute core habit here is consistency. Consistency calms temperament. It reduces anxiety in the animal. And crucially, it helps you spot problems, medical or behavioral, much earlier because you know what their normal looks like day to day.
Okay, let's talk time commitment. For a sort of average energy dog, what are we looking at daily?
The sources generally point towards roughly 90 minutes total, and that's not just one long walk. That's a combination of structured walks, maybe some focused training practice, and some kind of mental enrichment like puzzle toys.
90 minutes, okay. And you mentioned structured walks.
Yes. And here's a really vital point. A yard is not a walk.
Ah, okay. Explain that.
Letting a dog out in the backyard is great for potty breaks and maybe soaking up some sun. But structured walks, on a leash, exploring different routes, encountering new smells and sights, that's the mental stimulation they crave. The physical space of a yard doesn't provide that same enrichment. So you should plan for at least 2 proper walks daily for most dogs.
Got it. Yard is convenience, walk is enrichment. What about cats? How does their routine look time-wise?
For cats, you're replacing those outdoor walks with indoor enrichment. They generally need around 60 minutes of interaction spread throughout the day. This could be short bursts of play with a wand toy, time exploring vertical spaces like cat trees, or using puzzle feeders for their meals.
Okay, 60 minutes, but broken up.
Exactly. Micro sessions often work better for cats. And let's use those planning words for the logistics. You must provide fresh water constantly. You must feed vet-approved food in controlled portions. Obesity is a massive health risk. You could, and probably should, use puzzle feeders for some of their meals. It makes them work for it, uses their brain, and can actually be more calming for some cats than just gobbling food from a bowl.
That's a great tip. And what about grooming? That's part of routine too, right? Not just for looks.
Absolutely not just for looks. It's essential healthcare. Regular nail trims protect their joints, prevent painful ingrown nails. Brushing prevents uncomfortable, even painful mats, and helps you spot skin issues or lumps early. Think about, say, a poodle mix versus a Labrador. The poodle mix might be less sheddy, which sounds great,
Yeah, sounds easier.
but you trade less vacuuming for needing regular, often professional, and potentially expensive grooming appointments. You absolutely must factor that long-term cost into your budget.
Good point. Budgeting.
Yeah.
So how do we model that commitment using that planning language?
Well, you should probably set up a dedicated monthly pet fund or envelope. Put money aside specifically for food, litter, maybe training classes, and always include a contribution for unexpected vet emergencies. And if money got tight one month, you might need to skip buying fancy toys and instead get creative with DIY enrichment, like cardboard boxes or homemade puzzle feeders. The effort shows the love just as much.
That planning mindset really helps internalize that it's a long-term thing.
Okay, let's shift now to troubleshooting, because inevitably, problems crop up. The key seems to be turning that stress, that unwanted behavior, into practical, actionable steps.
Exactly. Take dogs, for example. Persistent barking or destructive chewing. It's hardly ever malicious. It almost always signals something else is going on, often anxiety, boredom, or just unmet needs for mental stimulation or exercise.
So if that's happening, what's the first practical thing to try?
Often it's about increasing the quality of the exercise, not just the quantity. A sniff walk where the dog leads and you let them spend ages exploring smells is often far more calming and mentally tiring than just frantic, high-arousal fetch in the park. And of course, you also need to actively train the behavior you do want. Teach a solid settle command or heavily reward moments of quiet.
Makes sense. Okay, switching to cats. What about scratching? That's probably the #1 complaint, right? Scratching the furniture? It's super common because scratching is a completely normal and necessary cat behavior. They do it to stretch, mark territory, shed nail husks. The solution isn't stopping the scratching, it's redirecting it.
How?
Provide lots of acceptable things to scratch. Tall, sturdy posts that don't wobble are key. Offer different materials, sisal rope, cardboard, carpet remnants. Place them near furniture they target or where they sleep. And crucially, you must praise and reward them when they use the post. Don't punish for scratching the sofa. That just creates fear and doesn't teach them the right place.
Okay, redirection, not punishment. What about the other big cat issue, the elephant in the room? Sometimes litter box problems.
Yes. That's often a communication breakdown, and the first stop should always be the vet. Rule out any medical issues like a urinary tract infection. If it's purely behavioral, go back to basics. Ensure you have enough boxes. The general rule is 1 per cat plus 1 extra. Scoop them daily. Try different types of litter, maybe unscented. And check the location. Boxes need to be in quiet, easily accessible spots, not tucked away next to a noisy appliance.
Got it. Let's talk anxiety. Separation anxiety especially can be just heartbreaking for everyone involved.
It's incredibly stressful. The gold standard approach is slow, gradual desensitization. Practice very short departures, literally seconds at first, and make them positive. Pair leaving with a super high-value treat or a long-lasting puzzle toy so your departure actually predicts something good. For other anxieties, like storms, create a safe, cozy den area, maybe use white noise, and definitely talk to your vet early about options like calming supplements, anxiety wraps, or even medication if the fear is severe. Consistency in providing that safe space is key.
Okay. And finally, allergies, a huge factor for so many potential owners.
Massive. And it needs a multi-pronged attack. First, talk to your own doctor and also your vet about options. Invest in good quality HEPA air purifiers, especially in bedrooms or main living areas. Be rigorous about cleaning textiles, vacuuming, washing bedding frequently. And here's a comparative truth we need to stress. Grooming the pet regularly is significantly more effective at reducing allergens in the home than just hoping symptoms will go away. Wiping them down with a damp cloth, regular brushing outdoors, it physically removes the dander.
That's a really practical tip. And quickly, what if you already have pets and want to add another?
Yeah.
Managing multi-pet conflict.
Slow is the name of the game. Slow introductions are mandatory. You must use barriers initially, like baby gates, let them smell each other under a door, swap scents on bedding before any face-to-face meetings. And often, long-term peace comes down to good management, separate feeding stations, multiple resting spots, ensuring each pet has their own safe zone. It prevents competition over resources.
Wow, okay. This has given us such a clear, really actionable way to think about this whole process. Moving from that initial impulse buy to genuine thought through accountability.
Yeah.
And the core message seems crystal clear. Fitting the temperament to your life matters way, way more than what the animal looks like. And those daily routines, that's basically love in action.
Absolutely. And we've sort of boiled down this whole deep dive into 5 key takeaways, things you can remember, maybe share, use for your own reflection.
Okay, let's hear them.
Number 1.
Consistency calms temperament.
Simple, powerful. Number 2.
Love is a routine, not just a promise.
Ooh, I like that.
3, a yard is not a walk. Remember that difference? It's more like a bathroom break area.
4.
Budget is a love language. You have to plan to provide for their needs financially for their whole life.
So true. And the last one.
And this might be the most crucial one. Choose the pet that matches your Tuesday.
Your Tuesday. Yeah, match the pet's needs to your normal, average, maybe even busiest, most stressful day. Not your idealized, relaxed Saturday fantasy life. Your Tuesday life.
If you can handle it on a Tuesday, you're probably good to go.
Exactly.
If you really internalize those 5 points, you're definitely on the path to making a truly compassionate choice. Okay, so let's leave you with a final thought. Really stress test that commitment. Imagine you had unlimited time and space. What amazing companion would you choose tomorrow? Now, imagine that time and space suddenly got halved because life threw you a curveball. How would your plan need to adapt kindly to still meet that animal's needs under those new, tighter constraints?
That ability to plan for kindness, even when things get tough, that's really the mark of a responsible, loving owner. Thanks for diving deep with us today.
Speak clearly about what you need, choose wisely for both of you, and love steadily through those routines. We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.